Killer kids reacting to death sentences. Here we have some killer kids reacting to death sentences. Number 5. Jeremiah King. Stephen Gray confronted King and his 5 pals in his garage after they went high and started committing crimes, including breaking into cars and residences. King was 16 years old at the time of the murder of Stephen Key in his driveway in 2015. The real shocking thing about King's actions during the court proceedings is not the crime itself, but rather the fact that King pulled the gun that ultimately took G's life. King and his pals were spotted grinning and displaying no regret for what they had done in court. King's mother informed the judge that although her son made a mistake, he was a nice and respectful young man. You don't comprehend how much Jeremiah took from so many people. Even though his mother begged for mercy, it doesn't get any worse than that. Jeremiah has a good moral character. I know it might be difficult to believe that given the circumstances, but it's true. Jeremiah King received a sentence of 25 years in prison. G's sorrow. Vinny had anticipated receiving a life term. It's okay, I will never have him back. King received the toughest punishment possible, a 25-year sentence with the chance of freedom by age 40 as a result of his plea agreement. Number 4. Chisum Philli. A terrifying occurrence involving 14-year-old Philip Chisum, a student in the 9th grade, and his 24-year-old math instructor, Colleen Ritzer, at the school, transpired. Colleen Ritzer was well known for her commitment to her kids, and on that particular day, she invited Chisum to remain after school for extra lessons. However, this nice gesture took a sinister turn, because some teenagers would rather take candy or smoke pot than skip class. Chisum arrived at school armed with a knife, an outfit change, and gloves. He followed Colleen into the lavatory where he killed her. His abuse didn't end there. Chisum was robbed, attacked, and mistreated following Ward's disposal of her corpse body by putting it in a trash can and hauling it behind the school. But shockingly, Chisum's actions were covered up by the way he conducted himself in court. Chisum went into town and bought a movie ticket with Colleen's credit card, but the police found him and took him into custody the following morning, still having Colleen's blood on his hands. Chisum was accused of several crimes, such as aggravated murder and armed robbery. During the court proceedings, he showed an astonishing lack of regret, even when the victim's parents read their impact statements. He continued to show no regret when the victim's siblings read their impact statements, putting this animal behind bars. Number 3. The Fui Brothers. On a sunny day in 2021, a 16-year-old Floridian was charged with the first-degree murder of his classmate Tristan Bailey. At the age of 14, Fui decided to partake in some rather unusual outdoor activities, and after being arrested, he attempted to stab Tristan over 100 times in the woods of St. Johns County, Florida. If you thought Fuji's crimes were reprehensible, you should see his shocking behavior. Tristan Bailey was described as an energetic and happy child, and her untimely death has caused her family and friends immeasurable pain. During the trial, the judge acknowledged that no sentence could truly bring closure to such a tragedy and expressed his sympathies to the grieving family. Some of you testify that when you heard of her passing, a part of you also died. I would advise you to fill that void with her life and spirit, which undoubtedly endures through every one of you. Ultimately, Fui was given a life sentence in prison, even though he was entitled to an appeal. The judge couldn't disguise his doubts about Fui's chances of rehabilitation, since the murder can't exactly be justified as an error. The stabbing lacked any discernible motive and was not motivated by retaliation, avarice, or any other common causes of violent crimes. The judge described it as a unique and startling St. Johns County instance. This court determined that the nature of the crime was unusual and distinct, not juvenile or impulsive. As the judge announced the sentence and expressed no regret, Fui stood motionless. "I've sentenced you to life in prison." The Port St. Lucie man who killed his parents with a hammer back in 2011 and then threw a party with their bodies still inside the house is currently serving his sentence in prison. There have been 114 stabbing wounds, 49 defensive wounds, 35 wounds to the head and neck, 29 to the back and shoulder, and 6 fatal wounds. The 49 defensive wounds show that Tristan Bailey was conscious, aware, and doing everything she could to fend off this attack. Number 2. Tyler Hadley. Tyler Hadley, who on July 16, 2011, in Port St. Lucie, Florida, physically decided to take matters concerning his family into his own hands. When his parents Blake and Mary Jo Hadley were at home, 17-year-old Tyler Hadley viciously beat them with a hammer, which ultimately resulted in their untimely deaths. The premeditation behind this horrific occurrence is what makes it even more unsettling. Incredibly, Tyler had invited friends over for a party that evening to celebrate after committing this unimaginable act. He had taken ecstasy before the murder, attacked his mother while she was using her computer, and then his father arrived to assist her. He then concealed their bodies in the bedroom and cleaned up the mess. Tyler didn't seem to care about what he had done and used his parents' credit cards to pay for the party. He even told some of his friends about the murders after he told me I didn't believe him, because he's been my best friend forever, and I would never suspect anything like this. Michael Mandel saw the bodies but chose not to call the police right away. Instead, he hung out with Tyler and took a selfie with him before finally reporting him. When I noticed bloodstains on the floor, I turned around and checked his parents' bedroom. Tyler had a history of drug abuse, criminality, and behavioral issues. His parents had tried to help him by sending him to rehab, but Tyler wasn't a fan of this plan, which is why he killed them. Number 1. Martis Fuller. Martis Fuller, at the age of 15, Fuller was charged with murder after breaking into his ex-girlfriend's home in Kosha County, Wisconsin, with a handgun inside. He fatally shot her in her bedroom while she was peacefully listening to music. Her mother, alerted by the gunshots, bravely confronted Fuller, and he shot her too. Fortunately, she survived, but the crimes committed by Fuller were abhorrent. His courtroom conduct will leave you speechless throughout the trial. Fuller claimed he was innocent of the charges and displayed little emotion. Despite his plea, the jury did not agree, and he was found guilty on 3 counts, including first-degree intentional homicide. Fuller was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole despite the severity of his punishment. I still apologize, but I have to continue to stand innocent because I am the judge, Fuller said. I don't have any ability to trust that you will never commit these acts. You are a very dangerous and damaged human being. If you thought these emotions were stunning, you'd be shocked at this video of people who killed their own families reacting to death or life sentences. Fuller seemed largely unmoved by the weight of his acts. For more interesting topics, make sure you subscribe our YouTube channel and give your feedback right now. Thanks for watching.